time to go on safari. And here are all the animals you can find.
Alrighty, Sante Sana Warden, and here in Harambe, they say 20, which means let's go. Jumbo friends, good morning and welcome aboard. My name is Mitchell. I'm going to be your safari guide today as we make our way through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. As we head out there, I do have a few quick safety reminders. Please keep those hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the vehicle. Always remain seated. That's going to go for little ones as well. They need to remain on their bottoms the entire time. And then just be as respectful of the animals today as you possibly can be. So we're going to hang here just a bit longer before we head in. So while we wait, if you would like to take a quick look up above you, you'll find an animal spotting guide up there. That'll have a list of everything that we may or may not be seeing today. But with that being said, we are going to start our safari off. We're headed into the Little Lituri Forest. This is home to some of Africa's more shy and more reclusive species. They're not feeling super shy today. It was pretty good luck getting in here. There's 2 or 3 species. They're coming up on our left side. We see across the water, there's some red and orange antelope. Those are bongos.
Just wait a second.
Bongos are also commonly known as the ghost of the forest because they're so very rarely seen by us in the wild. They're pretty shy animals. We're not going to see them too much. And on the right side there, you see the okapi. The okapi is going to be the closest known relative to the giraffe. But also to our right side, we're coming up to these big gray antelope.
Did you see that one laying up there?
One of the largest forest antelopes.
There's one right here with his head poking out.
And then back to our left side, we're seeing a pair of saddle-billed storks. Now, these birds, it is pretty easy to tell between male and female with them. We just want to look at the color of their eyes. Females have yellow eyes, and males will have black eyes. That was the male we just saw. There's a female out here. She's coming up down by the water on our left side. There's just 2 of them here in the forest, and they mate for life. And they are both pretty large birds. They stand at just over 5 feet tall with a wingspan of 9 feet. And that is side to side the canopy up above you. If you want to do a quick comparison for that. Okay, you can find the female at the very left end of the water. And they're going to get their name from a yellow saddle-billed design.
Right here, Jack, right down there.
Mom, are they the pink-backed pelican? No. What?
If you keep looking to your left, just across the water from us, we'll see a beautiful black rhino just laying down right in the middle. Now, typically their weight will usually fall between 2,000 and 3,000 pounds. However, for their size, they're pretty fast type of rhino. They charge a speed of up to 35 miles per hour. And when a rhino charges at their higher speed, they will gallop just like a horse would, getting all 4 feet off the ground at the same time. Typically, with rhino species just across the board, they're much more nearsighted animal. They see pretty good with things that are 5-10 feet in front of them. But what a rhino lacks in eyesight, they're really going to make up for in hearing and smell. Both of those senses are very heightened. Something may not always be able to see us. If we're nearby, they usually know where we're at. Now we're going to be looking for some more rhinos a bit later on, but in the meantime, we're going to get out of the forest and move into Safi River. It's home to a lot more aquatic animals. And out in the river, the water there is usually pretty clear. So if you want to look anywhere, I would recommend looking at the bottom of the river. Maybe see someone running around down there. Actually, before you look in the water, you might want to look all over the land. We'll see a lot of pelicans here. These are pink-backed pelicans. Now these pelicans, they'll be pink year-round, but as mating season gets closer, the pink feathers on their backs are going to be getting a lot brighter. It's almost like a little blush. I
saw a hippo over there.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Oh, there's a hippo right under the water. There's a hippo swimming under the water. Go look on this side. Look on this side.
And they are usually pretty social with their own species. They're called a float if they're found together. We often won't see hippos too far out of their waters. They're really fond of the river. If they leave it, probably it's because they're out looking for food. They venture as far as 6 miles to find that. And with all hippos, they are herbivores. So mostly they eat aquatic plants and grasses. On average, they'll eat around 85 pounds of food a day. Even though they're only going to eat plants, hippos, they are made of mostly pure muscle. They've been known to weigh as much as 5,500 pounds. So rather than swimming in the rivers, they prefer to run or jog along the bottom. You can see the rest out by the waterfalls there.
You see him, Mom?
You see him, Mike? Uh-huh.
Swimming?
I see him.
But keep looking to your left and down in the water, you'll see a Nile crocodile. The largest crocodilian species in Africa, second largest in the world.
Oh, you see him?
These guys are usually weighed at around 500 pounds and can grow to be between 16, even up to 20 feet in length. That's about the same length as the A really fascinating thing about them is they can all eat as much as half of their body weight in a single sitting. Mostly they just eat fish, but they're really not the pickiest of eaters. They're very opportunistic hunters that happen to have one of the strongest bite forces found in the animal kingdom. It is a bone-crushing bite force at 2,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. So that is all we'll find in the river. Now we can enter the savannah, where the first thing we'll see is not an animal. Notice this cool tree on your right. This is a baobab tree. It's the same type of tree that Rafiki lives in Disney's The Lion King. Well, that thing is said to be thousands of years old. Moving just a bit further into the savannas as the western half will move through. A lot more open grasslands. And the animals out here really rely on numbers to stay well protected. So we're looking for a few groups that might be out. We'll also probably be seeing some of Africa's more recognizable species here in the savannah. Oh, pretty cool. We're going to see a few of the giraffe up ahead. We're actually on a really good day. There's a baby giraffe will come across. Just way out across from us. Let's see, there's 4 of them over there. Usually pretty social. They call it the tower if they're together. We're going to get a lot closer in just a couple minutes. But this really small antelope next to us. This is a springbok. They're in the top 10 fastest land animals. They run at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour. They get their really cool springbok name because when they get a little bit frightened, they tend to spring about 6 feet into the air. Take a look to our left, we'll see a pretty cool predator. They're sleeping in that rocky den. There's a pack of African painted dogs. Looks like 3 or 4. And they're some of the most successful hunters in the entire world. They have an average hunting success rate that will fall between 80 and 90%.
Oh yeah, they do look like hyenas.
With their packs out in the wild, they do get to be a fairly decent size, at about 20 members strong. They're going to be led by 1 alpha male and 1 alpha female.
Imagine 20 of those on there.
Also on our left, we're going to see the sable antelope. Those antelope out there, they happen to be the symbol of our reserve because they're one of the only animals here that actively choose to fight with a predator and defend their territory rather than running away without a whole lot of fear in them. But catching up with this giraffe here, these are Maasai giraffe, the world's tallest land animal. Some adults they can stand a size about 20 feet tall. Babies on average are born standing at just over 6 feet. Based off of this little one's size, they're between 3 and 5 months old. And then Bob is the one that's walking away from all of them.
Jackie, have me turn around. Jack, have me turn around. Jack.
Do you think he's the same baby? No, that's not the same.
What do you think of the
Oh,
giraffe?
they're very long tails.
That's like a tail. Keeps the flies away.
Now, a while back, we did see the giraffe's closest relative, the okapi. Giraffe and okapi, they are so closely related for 2 main reasons. It's the shape of their skull and their prehensile tongue. They all have that prehensile tongue. It's just a fancy way of saying that. Their tongue is super strong and it's super long. The giraffe's tongue is around 22 inches in length. And they will use it to wrap around branches, pulling off the leaves, as well as cleaning their eyes, ears, and nose. Giraffe are one of the only animals that can actually lick the inside of their own ears. One of my favorite things I like to mention about them, if you're ever given the opportunity to observe giraffe for a longer period of time, you're going to see that they spend most of their day eating. Giraffe have a really big appetite. They will eat on average for 22 hours a day.
What? You okay?
They don't get a whole lot of rest. They sleep only for around 30 minutes every night, and they break their time up into mini 5-minute power naps. For most of the time, they just sleep standing up and with their eyes open.
That's crazy.
Now we're getting really close to a couple wildebeest on our right side. A lot of animals in the wild when they're together. Some of them have some pretty cool group names. And wildebeest, they have one of the weirder ones. They're called an implausibility if they're together. But out behind it, you can see what's called a dazzle of zebras. And then there are a couple more wildebeest here on our left. They're just kind of hiding in the bushes. Out in the wild, the wildebeest are the second most densely packed mammal in a group aside from us. The numbers out there reaching up to 1.5 million members per group.
Look at the giraffe right there, Sam. Can you see it? For her, him or her? Wow, look at them.
They're zebras.
Must be a subspecies. Yeah, because it looks
We're
different.
going to keep moving up now, start making our way into elephant territory.
Elephant.
Up ahead, we're looking for the African elephant, the world's largest land animal. We have a lot of ground to cover them today, so hopefully we'll see quite a few.
Tallest.
Actually, coming up on our right side, we'll see at least one of them is going to be out. And if you notice all over their bodies, they like to cover themselves in dust and dirt and other stuff like that. That just acts as a natural sunscreen. Elephants have some really sensitive skin. They prefer the rain or very cloudy days to be the most active. We're going to keep going and hopefully we'll see a few more up ahead. But as we get to the other end, I would love to tell you about a really cool conservation project surrounding them. It's called the Elephants and the Bees Project. It started in Kenya quite a few years ago, and it involves a lot of farmers over there who were having a lot of difficulties with local herds of elephants running all over their crops. The farmers couldn't grow much and make enough money. So instead of resorting to poaching the elephants to control the herds, which unfortunately they often are, it's a big reason why their numbers have declined in the past, instead of doing that, it was discovered that as big as an elephant is, they are terrified of bees and will run away just the sight or the sound of them. Farmers found this out and they would start to put up beehive fences all over their property. That's going to keep the elephants away while still protecting their herds and the crops, but then it will also give the farmers another form of income. They can sell the honey from the hives. It's a very nice example of some coexistence between us as humans and nature. It's really big and also a very popular conservation project that's out there. We're going to see, it looks like 3 or 4 more all coming up on the left side. Now these are going to be females probably. The first one was a male. Usually it's pretty easy to tell between a male and female African elephant. We just want to look at how solitary they are. In a herd of elephants, they're going to be led by a matriarch who is in charge of what the herd does, where they go, what they do. But once she decides that she's had enough of the boys, she will chase them out of their herds. Now usually this is going to be in their early teens, even as early as 10 years old. Males get kicked out and they go off on their own, while females will stay in the herds and birds and leave it up.
You okay? Yeah. How you doing?
Oh, look at
Look at the
that.
little guy. You see the little guy? You see the little guy? I mean, you see the little guy. Look at him.
Oh, he's getting the head.
Females have tusks too? You can get a pretty good look at that baby elephant now as well.
Look at the
There's a giraffe right here too.
Based off of that little one size, they're around 1.5 years old. And although they are very small compared to the others here, they're very big as far as baby animals go. Baby elephants on average are born weighing just over 300 pounds.
What?
I'd say now those should be just over 1,000, but it does have a lot of growing to do. Fully grown, the African elephants can weigh up to 13,000 pounds. And one more really good look at this last elephant, and we'll keep going to this we can find.
Oh, look at the one drinking the water.
Why does the water look so clean?
Yeah, it is. They keep it clean for the animals to eat.
Now reaching the other end of their territory, we're gonna head past a flamboyance of flamingos. These are the greater flamingo. They're the largest type, but full height will stand at just under 5 feet tall. And out of all flamingo species, this one is the lightest in shade of pink. When they hatch, flamingos are going to be a dark white, light gray color. But as they get older and they get bigger, they're going to get their pink color from a protein found in the microscopic brine shrimp in their diet. After they hatch, it will usually take around 2 years so they get their pink color. Right over here, we're moving into the eastern savanna. It's a lot more thick vegetation, similar to Little Literary Forest. This is where we're going to come across that second species of rhino. There's a crash of white rhinos coming up on the left.
Looking for this
Now, compared to the black rhino we already saw, fully grown, the adult white rhino, they can be double the size, as much as 6,000
Oh, I see 3 of them.
They all like to shape their own horns, usually rubbing their horns on some rocks and maybe some trees. They're very unique and very different. Only they will shape them. Other rhinos aren't bothered doing that stuff. Similar to the elephants, rhinos also have that really sensitive skin, so they roll around in mud almost daily against its natural sunscreen. But for rhinos, it's also really good skincare. As the mud dries on their bodies, it will trap and suffocate any bugs or ticks they might not want. Eventually, they just shave them off on some rocks or trees. But keep looking to your left, there's 3 cheetahs that are out. They're laying down in that bottom left corner by the really dark tree. There's 3 all laying down together.
Give me a minute, right?
Let me see.
Most people know the cheetah. They're going to be the world's fastest land animals, able to reach speeds of up to 70 miles per hour. But what is even more impressive is going to be the cheetah's acceleration speed. They can go from 0 to 70 in just 3 seconds. They are built for speed, not so much strength, so they can't hold it for too long, only around 100, maybe 150 yards at a time. But typically, it's just enough for them to be able to get whatever they're trying to catch. With the cheetah as a species, they tend to have a pretty big misconception about them. It's that they're part of the big cat family. They're actually not. Cheetahs don't have the title of big cat like a lion or a tiger would. Mostly it's because cheetahs hunt during the day, big cats will hunt at night. But also, unlike a big cat, cheetahs are not able to roar. Instead, they will still purr or chirp to communicate. They're a bit more closely related to house cats. And they're coming up here on our right side. We're going to pass by the water buck, one of the lesser known animals here. You can guess from the name that they love water. Once they find a good source of it, really they don't ever leave it. They're not a migratory animal. But if for some reason they're feeling like they want to travel, most likely they just use a river like we use a highway to get in the water, go for the ride, and get where they need to be going. They're coming up on our left side. We're going to pass by a sonder of warthogs, the largest burrowing mammal in Africa. And I like to consider them to be the recyclers of nature because they will reuse another animal's burrow rather than digging their own. They also enter their burrows backwards, their tusks pointed outwards, just to better defend themselves from any predators that may come across them. Alright, not a great view, but just past that green truck on the right, there's an ostrich that's laying down behind it. The ostrich is going to be the world's largest bird. That's the female out there. We can tell by her color. Males have the really dark black feathers, most more the lightly shaded ones. Actually, a pretty cool thing. Coming up on our right side along the stair path, we can see a clutch of their eggs.
See the ostrich eggs?
As the world's largest bird, it makes sense. They're going to lay the world's largest egg. Their eggs each weigh around 3 pounds, which is roughly the same weight as 24 chicken eggs. They're very strong as well. A full-grown man can sit right on top of it. Probably it's not going to break. So we've left the savannah. We're here in the Magadi Glen where there's one more animal. Out here we're going to find the Nigerian dwarf goats. They're very playful and they are very social, so they can establish some good bonds and hierarchies within their societies. If you're wanting to get a bit more up close and personal with them, head over to Rafiki's Planet Watch and you'll find a petting zoo with some awesome Nigerian dwarf goats, as well as a few other species in the infection section. There as well, there's an animation experience and an insider's look at the Animal Hospital Nutrition Center. It's a quick 5-minute train ride over there. Trains are going to run until 4:30. But now the time has come. We're headed back to the village and our safari is coming to a close. So I would like to say a quick thank you to you guys for coming on safaris today. I hope you got to see some of your favorite animals and learn something new that you can take home and share with your family and friends. Unfortunately, almost all the animals we saw are either out in the wild, critically endangered, facing some major habitat loss, or possibly both. And if you would like to help them in any way you can, I'll leave you with this. I know you've probably heard it a million times before, but let's make it 1,000,001. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. It may not sound like much, but it is one of the biggest ways that we can help make a difference all over this beautiful planet. As we near our dock, take a moment to gather all those personal belongings. Double check your rows, double check your pockets. It is a pretty long walk back to Africa. You often forget something. And if there were any future wilderness explorers on board, you've been riding aboard the Simba 1.
Train tracks.
Now getting into our dock here in Harambe, we don't like to say goodbye. It's far too final. So instead we like to use a Swahili phrase, Kwaherini, which means to go well. So Kwaherini, go well, go wild, stay safe and stay hydrated out there today. And have a lovely rest of your time here. This is Animal Kingdom, wherever your adventures may be taking you guys. On the right, watch those hands, arms, feet, and legs, doors are open.
Hey, watch those.
Watch your hands, you exit.
That was Kilimanjaro Safari. I hope you enjoyed the animals we saw. I try my best to record. See you in the next video. Bye.